Right, but what I was trying to say is the way you go about it makes it seem almost.
That's because that's your assumption. You're assuming that that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to say,
I'm trying to tell you, it almost to me seems like
and
if
that's
you're
it's
not
okay.
understanding the concept of a video, then I mean, it must
Yeah,
not be there. And not only that, I'm trying to say that, like, see, I don't know how to really explain it right now. I'm at a loss for words. When you were saying earlier about videos that don't have, in your opinion, the concept, but somebody else might say it does. Um, see, I don't know where I'm going with this right now. I don't know where I'm going. To me, it seems like you're really not looking at it as far as the concept and originality in it goes. Because when you're talking about AMVs that have a new or a different concept, something that's new, whether it be complicated or simple, it automatically gives it that boost of originality. Because if I use the same damn bullshit, a Vegeta AMV on how he gets his ass whooped, which is practically the same story in all of Dragon Ball Z, if I
yeah.
can manage to integrate a complicated concept into that, you're making it seem that if it's not understandable, then it wasn't executed right.
Well, I'm just saying as a point. I'm just saying as a viewership, that means it wasn't executed right. I'm talking about if a viewership looks at a video and you're trying to make people understand your story and people don't understand it, then of course as a concept it is failed. Because
So let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. I meant to say, if you look at two videos, one has a simple concept, you understand it. One has a complicated concept, you understand it. Both are edited very good. Which one would you, I guess, say is the better video?
well, it also depends on biases of certain things.
It's
It
not
depends.
bias. Let's get
Yes,
rid
it
of
does. There's
bias. I don't
biases
want
and
bias in an
there's
opinion.
biases involved in anything because there's song choices, there's source choices, there's
Doesn't. What if it's
genre.
the same song and the same source?
Well, then it depends.
They're
I don't
both
know.
edited perfectly fine.
But then the fact is that they're both going to have different scene selections still because they both have different concepts.
They have
So
different concepts, but the fact that the scenes are different doesn't automatically make the video bad.
no, I'm not going to say that. I'm just saying is that
What if the scenes work for the concept? You got to
I
look at it
and I
from a
said that's
standpoint of originality. You have an original concept versus something that's completely overused.
yeah, but that's the point is you that makes you seem like you completely I don't care about originality as much as that you do then on that. I mean, like I said I enjoy originality and people being able to execute concepts well, But and so, to me it's like that's fine. Now I'm having trouble putting words in my mouth for this. Like I
Damn
said,
it, Begi.
What?
no, I said I'm having trouble trying to put it in my mouth now about what
Right,
I
I
want
know.
to
I'm
say.
having a hard time with that too. But here's the thing.
No, but I'm saying is that what you say is true. It's like, maybe depending on the concept also. It's like if you say there's a complicated concept and there's a simple concept, then that also comes down to perspective. Maybe I don't enjoy that complicated concept even if I do get it. And maybe I enjoy the simple concept more, just because maybe I just like the way they perceive their concept.
Well, think about it like this: in editing, you want something to be original. I mean, think about it.
Not
If I make
not,
some
not
Dragon Ball Z
really.
video to some Linkin Park song, of course it's not original, and you're gonna say it's a piece of shit because of that. Sure, it
Not
might be edited
not
fine, but it'll
not
never get the
really.
credibility it deserves because it's
Not really.
unoriginal.
Not really. If a video is edited well and it represents scenes well and it gets me and I enjoy the video, I would consider it a good video.
Well, of course, you'd probably
The
enjoy it,
fact
but as
and the
far as
fact and the
technically
fact
speaking goes,
and the fact is that even if it's the same song and the same source, you can always have different types of editing or different scene selections that other people may not have used before. Of course, it's a horrid song, but as long as it's a well executed video, I mean, I really don't see a reason for it to argue its existence. You
right.
know?
But here's what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to say that originality plays a major factor into it. And if you're saying that a simple concept is better than a complicated concept because
I
you can
said
watch the
either.
video.
I never said either one's better. I just said that they're both.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're saying that a
That's the point. But,
complicated
but but
concept.
yeah, but the way you're saying if you're, it's kind of like in a way putting words in somebody's mouth. In a way, it is.
So you're assuming, like you were accusing me
Oh.
of doing.
See, and there's you go. That
Oh,
you make an assumption, I make an assumption, and then therefore you argue my assumption.
this
That's
is
everything.
hilarious.
That's all you.
No, see, here's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say
The thing
this.
is, I'm trying to make. That's the point. Is you won't agree with my argument. I'm trying to be understanding of what you're saying, and then you say all of a sudden
No,
you make
I'm
an assumption.
understanding your argument, but here's what you got to listen. I'm trying to say that if you're viewing a video based on how quick you can understand the concept, I think that plays a big factor into how good, technically speaking, the video really is. Not enjoyable,
No,
but how good.
no, but that's the point. You're assuming that I judge everything right from the beginning. I'm just saying when I was saying that I understand something, I'm like at least I want to see something there.
Well, of
And
course, but like you
and that's what
said,
I'm
you
and
cannot.
that
It's real hard to concept or to understand a concept within the first 40, 50 seconds of a video. You need
But
a
yeah,
good 2 minutes.
but there's like there's something there. I'm not saying there has to be a whole bunch. I'm just saying there's something there, even something small to grasp. You're assuming that I'm like having this huge fucking idea of what the video is about. When I'm talking about something, I'm like maybe I can see something or I'm grasping something or I can feel something right off the bat that makes me interested in watching the video and actually points maybe to sort of where they're going. I'm
Oh,
saying is there's long concepts, but even within something really short, there's a whole bunch of information being exchanged, within a video.
okay, so let me ask you this. There's a video that you know who Kev Master is?
Of course.
Okay, it's an old video he made for Project Editor. And you have you ever watched it? Here, I'll link it to you.
All right, so I've watched some of his, but I don't know which one. Would you talk? Which one?
It was the first round. It was where you have to sort of edit and make it I don't know, similar to your life or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, like right here within the first parts of the video, you already have a point. You have this character. You have different perspectives,
And
and you have.
but what's
You have a,
what's the concept in it? If you can watch the first 10 seconds and tell me a concept,
I don't have a concept. The fact is, what I'm saying is, I get something from it already. Like there's a character here. I see emotions, and I see a backdrop, and that's got me watching the video and got me interested. I'm not exactly saying that there's something I even understand from it. I'm just saying there's something I see and I get, or an emotion I
so
feel.
so are you trying to say this that if you can manage to show emotion, your video accomplishes something within the first, I'm talking very short
I'm
amount
talking
of
about
time
everything.
before the
I'm talking
first
about
minute?
everything. I'm talking about everything overall. You're expecting one aspect. I combine all the aspects together.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to understand on as far as concept goes. I'm still stuck on this concept because if you can understand a concept real quick, the only thing that means to me, I
I'm
mean,
not even.
if
Yeah,
most
but to
people,
you,
most
yeah,
viewers
but
of a video understand a
that's.
concept of a video quick, it's because the concept is simple.
But I'm not saying that you have to understand. I'm not saying you have to even understand the full concept. You're assuming that you have to understand the full concept, or even.
No, no, you don't have to understand the full concept. I watched that Kev Masters video. I didn't understand shit about it. Like, yeah, it's his life. But to me, there's a comment Rez made. It's some bullshit. He said you went along and gave it a story as you edited. That's seriously what it looked like to me. Sure, I can understand what he was trying to do. The video, in my opinion, was nice. I like it. But
Yes.
oh yeah,
But the
that's your.
fact that what I'm talking about is there's just several different things. It's like I'm not saying is that you feel everything at once. As you talk about, as something develops through a video, there's something maybe you feel before something else. And that's the point. Is like with this video, I see a character, I see a mood that he starts with, and of course that mood sort of changes as throughout the video because he has inconsistencies. Sure, because the video uses different sources that don't blend well together, and like he's putting random shit in there, and of course that
It's a
changes.
very hard concept. I don't know if it's
That's
uh
the point. That's what I'm saying. It's not even a concept he probably even had in his mind. Sometimes when a
right.
person makes
There's
a
like I
video,
said, the comment Rez made on there, he was completely right in that. You
yeah,
made some bullshit excuse for, or you
yeah,
made some. I don't think that really matters. Hold on.
yeah, and I agree with that. The video isn't well executed in concept. The fact is maybe Kev Master himself didn't even have a good concept to begin with. So the fact was, is he was just putting what he thought felt right. And
You
when you're putting
slapped a
what,
bunch of clips and some sync. Then you
yeah,
Then you invented a random story for them, and there. Wait,
yes,
what the hell? This guy's a dumbass. For them, and they're done.
yeah, and that's the point. That's what I'm saying.
That's what
This
I
is what
thought the
this
video
is,
was.
and this is
But
what this is a example that I'm talking about right
that
here.
is a good example. But once again, you can't understand the concept even with watching a whole minute of it. You can't understand a concept, whether that
But
description be there or not. You don't understand the
But
concept.
that's the
Shit, there's
point
no
then.
way.
That's the point then is that at first you feel something and something else, but then the point is he destroys his any possibility of a concept, which then makes it so there's a bad concept overall. The fact is what I'm talking about a video is like I said, is you have something that you can grasp beginning really early, like even if it's just an emotion or a character or something that you see, and then as you're going on, you're developing this concept and developing a story, and then overall, then that develops into something good. If by the end of the video, it's
Well, see, let's
over.
say this then. I really don't want to do it, but compare it. Compare it. Let's look at movies. You don't watch half of the movie and understand the whole movie completely, do you?
No, but you have an idea. Yeah, but you have an idea of what's
You have an
happening.
idea, of course.
Yeah, and that's the point. You have an idea of what you see, of the characters that you see, the background you're in,
And what's
and
the,
maybe
well?
and
Let's
maybe
look at it like this.
and then
What's your
maybe not.
opinion of what? In your opinion, what is a full AMV? How long?
Like I told you already, to me, like a 2 minute video was like that. But like because then you have a beginning, you have a middle, and an end. And to me, a couple minutes at least gives you some time to throw some clips in there and have a decent concept. Within the first minute, in most videos, within the first minute, you're only maybe just starting to get the beginning done, and then starting to work towards your middle
And
section.
then that's maybe. In the middle is where you really start to get the concept, and at the end is where you see the closing of the concept. You
Yes.
actually see it comes to a close and a full. full understanding of it. They
Yeah,
don't leave any
but
loose
each one,
ends.
yeah, but each one of those parts has something to take from it if it's done right. You have a beginning to take from, you have a middle to take from, and you have a end to take from. And the fact is, they all combine together within the concept that you've created.
Right.
Yes.
1 second.
Yes. Mm.
See, I mean, I can understand what you're trying to say, but yeah, you're allowed to talk, Georgie. The hell? But no, to me, concept to me really means a lot in a video because you can have some random action maybe. It's gonna have a concept.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Is that's what.
Justin, you there? Shit, what the hell just happened?
Don't like, even if it seems like the most stupid fucking reason in the world, and it probably seems 100% wrong, and it might be wrong, the fact is, in that person's mind there was still a thought process they had for putting that there how they did. And like I said, it might not necessarily be right, it might not actually fall into enjoyable categories and something, but that's something they thought, and
Right,
therefore it being thought means it's not random. Which is
right.
it's an argument I got from Rada once in a post he made, in a voice thing he'd said, and I agreed with him 100% on that because it's true. There is no such true thing as random action because there's always a thought process of some sort going in behind the video, even if it's, oh, this scene looks pretty. There's a
There's
thought
a
right there.
thought process there. There's some sort of
Yes,
logic behind the
and that's why
reasoning,
there's no such thing as a random action. Like, nothing in this world can be 100% random because there's always something that premeditates that action usually.
unless you
You,
just randomly grab clips and scenes without understanding what the hell
Yeah,
you're
like
grabbing.
you'd actually have to do it blind, and you would just have to throw them in there, like
Exactly.
and you can't do that because there's no way to actually put something together that way.
Right.
Yeah,
That's how noobs do it.
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But the fact is that, but it's still not random action. It's
but
just
that's why they're
deploying.
labeled like that. Even random action, you can look at any random action video, whether it be a beta or full AMV, it always has a concept in it. Always.
Yeah, like even if they say, "Oh, I simply use this clip because this is clip that everyone else uses," that's a thought process that made them put that clip there. So therefore, it's not random. The
Random
fact
action AMVs, they have the simplest concept there is. Show as much fighting as you
and
possibly can.
make it look flashy, make it look entertaining, and make it pleasing to the eye. And that's the simple idea of a random action video. But since it has such a lack of concept to people, people pretty much put it as random action just because to them such a simple concept doesn't really label itself as a concept because it's something that most anybody can do. And that's kind of, I think, where the reasoning became behind it, because all these people who did these videos with heavy concepts then thought that a video this simple, with this little thought process and simply just making something look pretty doesn't seem like it warrants the thought of actually saying it has a concept, because that's so fucking simple and you're not really trying, in their opinion. To them,
Well,
you're not really
I have
trying.
a video that you might have seen it, Justin. You might have. Gold Gangsta's Bleach video?
Oh yeah, it's that one.
That's a completely random action video. But I thought that was damn good. Even
Uh,
though the concept is as simple as you can really
yeah.
get.
And for me, I didn't like it because the aspect of it I didn't like was the velocity whoring, and I don't feel that the scenes themselves build up very well. Like, only thing I see is a bunch of velocity whoring, and then just a bunch of really choppy pan crops with linear blurs for some parts of his transitional
The
work.
pan crop wasn't the panning really wasn't the greatest. I thought it was fine. It wasn't bad. But I like the fact that he really manipulated the velocity like that because he achieved what he wanted to do.
Yeah, but to me that didn't. But to me, it feels artificial. I mean, because like when I'm working with the source, also like I don't like, to me it destroys the animation of a source. Like, I think that sometimes if you speed up something too much, also when you're speeding up something so much, there's only so much a human can perceive then, like, because you're melding all these frames together and things are just bleeding together after a point,
Right, and there was a video that Arash made, some stupid ass, I don't know, I think it was
But I think,
Helson.
yeah, but his Bleach video to me is much the same way. He just starts speeding up stuff and speeding up stuff and speeding up stuff, and eventually that's all you have. Eventually, is you just have all this sped up video
There's a
shit.
lot of velocity in it, but here's the thing with it. Um, the concept is simple, so you can understand it almost right away.
Yeah,
The
it's action.
velocity worked. It worked in my opinion. Just because it might be horde, like you say, it's only
But the fact is that he uses it on scenes that normally he uses it on scenes that then it feels like the scene isn't being the scene doesn't feel like it actually works. It feels like he's just using it because it speeds up well, and it doesn't really blend well with the scene previously. To me, the video doesn't have a good momentum to it. It doesn't have a good intensity. It doesn't build up well. It doesn't break down well. It just feels like there's a bunch of velocities that are just spammed to what he believes is his definition of pace. But the fact is, then it just starts, like I said, it bleeds together, and it's just one continuous stream of clips after that. And I know,
See,
and I have plenty of people who think that, and then there's plenty of people like you who would actually like the velocities work and such, and that's your opinion.
well, see, here's the thing. I really don't like a lot of velocity work. I like it to a certain extent, but you have people that really, really abuse it.
Yeah, and to me that's the point. Is like I don't like abusing it too much. Like to me, I think after a point it detracts from the video and the overall anime that you're working with. I mean, it's the same thing within like I think it might work better within movie like live action type footage because within live action type footage you have a lot smoother movement, and in lots of cases with movies you actually have perspective scenes that would actually benefit from you using velocities more. So
Yeah,
to
but you
me,
see, the thing with live action, I don't think it would work because you have such minute movements. You have things like somebody throws a punch, or even a simple jump or movement. You have movement all over the body, and if you start to increase the velocity too much,
like I said, it also depends on the scene type too. Like I said, perspective scenes, like if you're spanning around a certain area, or you have a character that's like rotating and moving up somewhere,
right,
you
that's
can use
something different. As long as there's not much movement, minute
yeah,
movement within the character, such as a
yeah.
T-shirt,
Like I
some
said,
shit
that's
is
what I'm
here.
saying. It's like it's more of a gross movement type of thing you would use it for, and that's what I argue its usage for. But like when you're just using it for everything, regardless, I don't really think it's really well used in that case, and that's just my opinion on it.
Well, like I said, you're only limited to your source. It's not like you can completely create completely,
And to
as a
be that,
whole.
but in a way, that's where effects come into play. A
Well,
well
yeah,
done
you're only limited so far. It's not. I mean, think about it. If you overdo effects, you get some shitty ass video.
Yeah, but the fact is that you can use things like that's the point where effect photo manipulation comes in with effects. You have maskings, you have color alterations. You can even place people in different backdrops, or you can even combine multiple sources. And that's where the part where effects comes into play. Effects themselves are supposed to enhance already existing editing, or are supposed to create their own, editing in itself. So like if you have maskings and such and color corrections, then working those within cuts and therefore creating a good concept that from blending multiple sources, multiple clips, or just changing, putting characters together that normally weren't together, that's a smart usage of effects.
Well, see, I mean, no matter what anybody says, to me, if you were to ask me, one of the best people to use effects, really, in all honesty, is Rez. And I mean,
That's true.
you look at his shit, and it's not just because it's hard to do; it's because it works. You look at Accelerate, you look at Rampage. They have, I mean, Rampage, in my opinion, was a little bit overdone, but he
Well,
did a damn good job with it.
the problem with Rampage is that it's one of those videos that's affected by aging. The fact is those effects look old now and they look really ugly.
Well, of course, but I mean,
That's a point of time, that's nostalgia for some people. The fact is to you that's a fine video, and I mean to you maybe it hasn't aged as much as it has for other
oh no,
people.
it's aged a lot for me. That's why I say it's a little overdone. It's aged a lot, but me
I
personally,
mean
I like those old animes. Something like
and then
that.
like the 3D rooms and such and like the camera works he does between AE stuff looks choppy, and maybe it's not, like some of the pan crops and things he uses aren't as well done now. So
Well, of
that's just
course not. Rez always has a habit to kind of make his pans real heavy, whether he uses
I,
them anymore or not.
I don't think that's a problem. I think in certain videos that's not a big deal, but like I think like within his AE work, it just does it. The problem is how it transitions with rotation and such. I just don't think it feels smooth.
Well,
I
look
don't
at
think
his
it flows
accelerant
well.
video. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, and that works fine. That was intelligent. He doesn't really do anything too intense. He just does basic zoom outs and zoom ins to
No,
things.
they're not necessarily that easy.
Not
They
really.
really aren't.
Not really. The fact is they really weren't that complicated. He was just doing basic slides and zoom ins and zoom outs from certain
No,
parts.
you even look at the intro of the video. He's got mask scenes of the Tekken characters, which is not hard to do, but then he has
But
the complicated
that's the
effects in the
point is those
background. You have a bunch of noise moving around and shit.
yeah, but that's also simple movement stuff. That's just rotations and
Not
such. Like
necessarily, and you have his time
I
slides.
he's told me about it. He's just sliding. He's just doing rotations, and he does like this. He didn't use motion blur. He used like some sort of defocus kind of movement motion blur type effect within AE that he said, and he keyframed that for the rotating wheels
So
and
think
such.
about it like this: to him, it was easy, but could
Damn. Yeah.
you could you make it as easy as he did? I don't think so.
I'm just talking about the pan crops overall. I'm saying the pan crops themselves aren't that complicated. It's how
Oh
he
no, not the pan. I'm not talking about the pan crops. The pan crops themselves are not complicated at all.
That's what I
I'm
was
saying,
talking about. That's what I point. I was arguing about his pan crops, and I
oh,
said,
I misunderstood.
yeah,
Oh,
and
I was talking about his effects.
no,
His
of course
effects
of
weren't
course his
necessarily
effects
easy
though.
to do because as far as his pan crops, yeah, they weren't that hard.
No, that's what I'm saying. Of course, his effects themselves were then stuff that he created. He blended those together, and of course, that was well done. Yes, But then that's also because he has his own editing logic and his own effect logic to where he blends those two together. I don't have that same logic. I pretty much go for a logic of pure, almost exclusive editing. If I do anything, it maybe involves linear blurs and pan crops and maybe doing some overlay work, but that's just my editing and my effect logic, and that's what makes me different from him, you know?
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
most people are going to be like, oh, of course you mentioned Rez, but it's true. It's real hard to find somebody that can do effects like Rez does, and they actually work.
Yeah, it depends who you know. Like I said, I've known plenty of people who do really good effect
Oh,
work.
oh yeah, you do. But in my opinion, Rez is definitely one of the top ones that does it because his isn't his really sticks out. His is really, really
Yeah.
pushing the anime as far as it can go, or the source, whatever it might be, as far as it can go.
Yeah, whenever I talk about editing something, I talk about pure I talked about it as in I'm not editing anime, I'm editing sources. When that's the thing I
Right.
think it's also an issue with people. Like they think, "Oh, I'm editing anime," but when you think of it as editing a source, then it becomes a lot more broad to you perspective-wise. Like if
Right.
you know because you're not limiting your mindset to just, "Oh, I'm editing anime." It's like I'm taking this source in front of me, I'm looking at what it has to offer me in terms of animation, the colorings, the character movements, like the mood and everything, and I'm taking all this and I'm taking what I think is advantageous for my what I want to do, and then I'm making that in video form.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, like I said, Rez does really good effect work within his videos, and he does really good with that. And that's how he does editing. There's plenty of people who do just fine without
Oh,
doing
right. In
that.
my opinion, if you can manage to pull off a raw video, I mean, and it's only true. If you can manage to pull off a raw video that is
And raw,
honestly really something, like really something spectacular.
yeah, and the fact is, raw editing isn't as easy as many people make it out to be. People are like, "Oh, I can raw edit easy," but the problem
Yeah,
is, raw,
they slap on a few clips, say, "Oh, I did a cut here, I did a fade there, done, raw
yeah,
editing." But raw
yeah,
editing is limiting yourself
yeah.
to
It's
using
actually
strictly the source without anything else.
Yeah, that's the point. You have to take what you have and you have to work with nothing more than just cuts, your concept, and your scenes. And so basically, it requires you to have the most intimate knowledge of your scene work. Because unless you know everything that you have to offer, everything that at your disposal, then how are you supposed to take advantage and therefore make a good video? So to me, it's one of those sources. It requires you to have the best knowledge of editing. It requires you to know the most about your scenes and actually be able to take advantage of these limiting factors
Exactly,
you have in front of you.
exactly.
And that's where I think also, to me, raw videos themselves are also the most timeless. The thing about effects, the problem with effects is that effects, they age over time. And the fact is people have different perceptions of effects as we go through.
Exactly.
Because, within this age, we have evolving CGI, we have different,
Right, and
AMPs
that's the
that
thing you have with a lot of Rez's videos. Back in the day when you first watched them, they were
and that's the weakness. The fact is that in maybe another 2 or 3 years, even the videos like Accelerate and such won't even seem that impressive to us in comparison to what we'll see then. That's the
exactly.
that's the problem with effect people. Is effect people aren't as long lived in cases as people who do straight raw. Like someone who like Coop who does straight raw may do a straight raw video. That video will seem more timeless just because all you have is the scenes, the cuts, and
Right,
all
you
the
don't have any
concept.
sort of manipulation. You stay within the source.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
if you're
so and
using
so
a source that's going to be aging big time, like compared to
yeah.
Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z already is as aged as pretty much it can get.
Yes, and that's the point. Is that, but in the end, so in the end, the only thing that can really detract you from that source is just the scene, the anime and the animation itself. There,
Exactly.
so as long as you can at least understand the concept and you can bother to watch the source and what it looks like, then that's a lot more tolerable for people to do than watching a video with crappy effects. You
Right,
know,
and I mean, effects really, they're like, I don't know how you want to call them. I
they
mean,
are they said they're meant to add something to a video, either to enhance concept or to add enjoyment.
they're like helpers. They're like helpers. If you
Yeah,
have to make a video,
But that's the thing is also you have to think about them as in that's the point you have to think about them as in they're helpers. They're there to enhance editing. The problem with people in editing nowadays is there's just such a huge push to all these kids who think, "Oh, maybe I should get AE or something," of course. And that's always been the flaw of where it's like, but that makes your editing worse because then you start putting your priorities towards effects and you don't even think about how to blend them, with
exactly. Most people automatically think that, oh shit, I use Adobe After Effects. I'm a badass. I can do anything. Yeah,
yeah.
right. It's how you can actually use it. And I mean, sure, the program literally does make the video, but it's the editor that makes the video when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the fact is that even then it's like programs themselves, just because someone else has done so many things been done with a program doesn't mean you can't do something else. Like, I've created my own effects in Vegas that people can't even create in AE. I've actually watched people try to create some. I've watched AE editors try to create some of my effects from Vegas. The problem is that the program itself acts completely different for certain effects. Even if the effect exists within the program, it can't do it in the exact same way, so it won't look as good. You know. So
Right.
yeah, so that's the point, is the editor taking advantage of the program they have and their knowledge of editing overall and how to blend their concept and their cuts and everything else. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, but all right, guys. Yeah, come on, someone else talk. We've been sitting here fucking arguing for like 20 hours. It seems like,
I think it's been 2 hours. I don't know. Let's see how big this file is.
It's the convo has been going for almost 2 hours.
It's 83 megabytes. The file
God.
already.
I haven't slept. I didn't go to sleep. So I've been up for about, I don't know, 37 hours?
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
I've done that before. It's not always fun, but
I
But
actually
yeah.
feel fine, but I mean, I'm not a score or anything, so.
Yeah. Well,
I
but
don't, what was the point of that conversation?
Well, I
we,
mean,
I didn't.
we were doing a podcast. This was a plan to do a podcast,
but
actually.
since Billy doesn't want to talk, Benji doesn't want to talk.
No,
It
yo, I
became
thought
it just literally became an entire argument between me and Benji and our
It's quite
perceptions
hard
of
to get a
ethics.
word in with you two because you like.
Well, no, just talk. We'll eventually. What do you call it?
Yeah, the point is you
I
guys
don't
don't.
like. I don't like talking over people.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that if we're both in here and we're both into our conversation with each other, then someone else has got to be like, hey, I want my word in this, and then it's like, oh, okay, It's like sometimes
no,
we get absorbed in what we're saying, and then we don't understand just other people who may want to talk.
I thought we were gonna talk about more about the editing community though, not like
Yeah,
flow
it
of
would have
stuff.
become that, but then fucking me and Benji get in this war of the
Yeah,
words argument about everything, editing
started out of
concept.
You were
nowhere.
agreeing most of the time though when I was here. But what was the main issue?
Well, the
Well,
problem
here's what
was
we're doing. We're talking about. We mentioned a few videos, as you've seen. We gave a few examples, and we were pretty much. It really got into an argument rather than a discussion.
yeah, because it became more of an argument of assumptions. It's like, oh, you're assuming this, or you're assuming that. It's like, no, I'm fucking assuming this, and you're assuming that, and it just became an argument of that instead of anything else related to editing. And then we both said, okay, we need to calm down, and we need to let a person have the full idea put out there, and let the other person put their full idea out there, and then we'll argue those. And then eventually things calmed down. And when you came in, it was about the time we were doing that. We were like, okay, we need to
Yeah.
calm down. We need to articulate our words, and we need to become smart about this. And we were both
I
like,
thought it was a bit tame.
that's only because you came in during the part where it was becoming tame. Before that, it was fucking hostile as all hell.
It was. We were pretty much talking shit.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking to each other. Like, you're fucking stupid. It's like, you don't know this. Or it's like that. It's like, well, you're stupid for thinking this.
Not even Benji wanted to step in.
Yeah.
Well, no, you guys didn't even talk. You guys were like,
I think they were literally just like absorbed by our argument after a
I
point.
think they were in shock.
Becky was mean to me.
You? Oh, Benji?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not the
yeah,
nicest guy there is.
yeah. You were, yeah. Then we started assuming. We even started assuming. Like, I started making assumptions against Billy with Benji, and then and then he started making assumptions against me with Benji. He's like, "Well, Benji's your butt buddy." I'm like, "Well, Billy knows you more than he knows me," and we started arguing about that at some point too.
All right.
What? That's so sad.
But don't you get it? We were so fucking into it. We were just ready to go at each other's throats after a point.
I mean, we really were still talking about the topic at hand. It's not like we got
Yeah.
off topic.
It just became more it just became more personal in who we were.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
well, there you go. There goes our podcast. Watch next time, I guess.
Yeah.